This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by promoter for the week, Frank Smith here in Sheffield. Frank, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. You're here in Sheffield, Eddie's over in Philadelphia. Do you think you got the better end of the straw?
I've currently, as we stand, I've sold a few more tickets, a couple of hundred more tickets. We're going to have over 10,000 in there on Saturday night. It's going to be some night in Sheffield. But Eddie's got the big, Boots Ennis, the superstar as well, in Philadelphia. So it's a big weekend for Matchroom boxing.
Surely there's a friendly wager there between the pair of you. Who's going to end up with a bigger attendance on Saturday?
Maybe I should have a bet.
Yeah.
He'll just say that it was all his idea anyway. So it's all him.
Before we do come on to Philadelphia, let's start off with the reason we're here, Dave Allen versus Makhmudov. Frank, obviously a few months ago there was rumours swirling of a massive fight in the pipeline for Dave with regards to Joseph Parker being mentioned, Deontay Wilder. Makhmudov, dangerous man, especially those early rounds, but not necessarily the same profile of the Parkers and the Wilders. How did you end up with Makhmudov? How dangerous of a fight is this for Dave Allen?
Dave wanted a fight and a fighter and an opponent that scared him. He said that. I think he realises at this stage of his career he needs to be motivated, to do what he's doing. And you'll see the best Dave Allen on Saturday night. And Makhmudov will bring that out of him. I think 19 KOs Makhmudov's got. He's a brilliant fighter. He's a great heavyweight. It's going to be a great heavyweight fight for as long as it lasts. I believe, though, you're going to see the best Dave Allen we've seen to date. And it's quite amazing to say, really, when you think back to 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where he was. And I'm really happy for him because he's just a nice bloke. And he deserves every bit of it, every bit of success.
The heavyweight scene, a lot of people will comment and suggest, obviously, Queensbury have a lot of heavyweight fighters across the board. For Dave, why do you feel like he's in such a strong position with Matchroom and he's a bit of an integral cog in the heavyweight division for you guys?
I think because he can go in against any of those big names. Look at what he's done. There's no one selling 10,000 tickets. I don't really think of the other British heavyweights right now. Dave Allen's doing that. And he can set himself up and put himself in a position to get any of those big fights. And also put himself in a position to win those fights as well. Because he's never applied himself like he's applied himself now. And that's why you're going to see the best of him and move into those big fights and not be written off as an underdog, but go in there as a 50-50 fight. This is a real fight we got on Saturday night. But Dave Allen being, training to the best of his ability and putting him everything into the sport, he's a dangerous fighter because he's been in there with their best fighters around the world, not just in fights but in sparring as well. He's got the experience. He's much more experienced than 90% of the heavyweights out there, because when you think of what he's done throughout his career, but he's just never applied himself like he has now.
Frank, if Dave comes through, I was going to be talking about a big fight in the pipeline for him. He mentioned it yesterday at the media day. I saw an interview with Deontay Wilder come out this morning where he suggested that he's got big news coming and a potential January fight. Obviously, those two have been bandied about for a while. Is there anything there, a potential January fight with Deontay Wilder?
I don't think so. I don't believe so. I think, obviously, Deontay's doing his own thing. Dave's not looking past Saturday night because he knows what a test it is. He knows what kind of fight it is. And it would be wrong of him to... It's our job to look at what's next. But all I can say for Dave Allen is he can put himself in any of those fights against those top 10 heavyweight guys. Because he's delivering. If he delivers a win on Saturday night, the opportunities are endless for him.
On the flip side, Makhmudov has said that he's had a few messages exchanged about a potential Anthony Joshua fight.
Makhmudov might have messaged AJ to start it. I'm not sure AJ texted him out of the blue and went, let's have a fight next year. Look, AJ's a man in demand in the heavyweight division. Everyone wants to fight him. There's lots of big fights out there for him to be made. Again, Makhmudov's got to get through Dave Allen on Saturday.
And obviously, I know there's been talk about him going back to Africa and fighting in one of the countries in that continent, but is anything likely there? Do you expect to see ground kind of covered in that sense?
Look, we've been having a lot of conversations in Ghana, obviously Nigeria as well, about what's next steps for Anthony Joshua, but there's obviously the discussions of Jake Paul, of Tyson Fury, etc. So he's in a great position, and we're going to be led by what he wants to do. He can go into any fight he wants because of his commercial profile. So we shall see. I think we're getting to the point now in the next week or so where you'll start seeing decisions made, and we're excited about what the future holds. He's, again, the commercial kingpin of the division in my eyes. Obviously there's talk of Tyson Fury now coming back, which makes that fight more likely. Exciting times.
Boots over in Philly, Frank. First fight at 154. Lima, although he might not have the profile, he's known across the board. He can be a tough test for Boots on Saturday. What are you expecting?
Look, he's been on the road and got big wins, Lima, and as you say, he doesn't have the profile, so people will write him off and say, easy fight for Boots. But actually, it's a real test. You know, this is a chance for Lima to change his life. I think Boots is favourite, of course. He's a tremendous fighter. We saw in that fight against Ennis just how good he is when he steps up the levels as well. I think you're going to see him become unified, if not undisputed champion at multiple weights. But he's got a real test on Saturday night. I'm excited to see that. You know, we're obviously in Sheffield, then straight off to the Philly show. It's going to be good.
What can you tell me about the Virgil Ortiz fight? Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about that, but there seems to be some confusion. The way that it's been put across is that maybe a deal's been agreed across both parties. That doesn't necessarily always come across then on social media. A lot of confusion on that point. Is there a deal agreed by everybody? What can you say?
Boots has agreed his side of the deal. We had a meeting with Golden Boy a while back now where the terms were outlined of what it would take to make the fight. We're all aligned with that. Boots is aligned with that. That's the fight that we want to see next. So it's on Ortiz now. He's obviously got his fight, I think, in November. It's on them. But Boots is ready to go with that. He wants the biggest fights in the sport.
So whatever those terms were, you guys, or rather Golden Boy, would have turned to Ortiz and said, this is what's on the table provided you come through, but you haven't had confirmation if it's been accepted?
Correct, yeah. And I'm sure they're having those conversations about what's possible.
Away from that, Frank, you're a bit of a Netflix star yourself now. Obviously, using the limelight for the documentary. The big talking point coming out of it is potential sale of Matchroom. I just wanted to get your understanding and your position on it. What can you tell me? Do you expect to see progress made with a potential sale? Is Turki Alalshikh a front runner in that sense?
Look, we sold obviously a small part of the business last year. We're in a great position as a business, not just in boxing. You know, people think about us as a boxing business, but we do 600 events a year around the world. You know, darts is probably our biggest business. Snooker's a huge business. 9-ball pool's huge as well. You know, so on a global scale, we're massive. There's a lot of talk and discussion ongoing. It's exciting times. Doesn't really change anything for us. You know, we're here. We're running our business. We're doing what we do, and yeah, it's interesting. We'll see what happens. But you know, it doesn't mean that we sell and we're all off enjoying ourselves in the sun. It would be nice, maybe in 5 or 6 years, but not right now. But yeah, lots of discussions ongoing.
That's what I wanted to ask you about, Frank. I asked this to Eddie last week. If a sale was to go through, what his position would be. He said that he couldn't imagine not being involved with Matchroom still moving forward. So I imagine maybe just on the promoter front then. For yourself, I know you've spoken a bit more openly about you could walk away from boxing if you was happy and secure in your own life. Is it different in that sense? Do you think that if, say, the business was sold and you were financially happy, you could walk away, or do you think for this time being you'd want to stay involved with Matchroom?
I think for the time being, we've done amazing things, and I'm excited about what the future holds. The fighters we've signed recently, you know, I'm looking at the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years. I'm not saying I'm going to be here forever, and there'll be someone better than me. And I want to build a business that continues without individuals necessarily. You know, like we've got that in our other sports, and I think we can do that here. And I think it's also, for me, it's about change. I can't do 300 nights in hotels a year for the rest of my life. It's not really sustainable. It's the bigger piece for me. It doesn't mean I'll stop working. It might evolve and I'll just spend less time on the road. I just do, different things. But I'm not really thinking about it right now. I'm focused on where we're at. We're doing amazing things right now. We're doing exciting things that excite me after even all these years in the sport. So yeah, we shall see. But nothing in the near future.
To ask you as well, Frank, I haven't had a chance to catch up with you since you stole Ben Whittaker from your old mate Ben Shalom and Boxer. Just want to get an understanding on that deal, and it seems to be, from what I've seen over social media, that you was kind of the front runner, not front runner, but the key player in trying to get that deal over the line for Matchroom, because everybody's congratulating you. I saw Eddie congratulating you for getting over the line. Was that the case? Did you kind of take the lead on that deal?
Yeah, look, we're a team in everything we do. You know, Eddie is obviously the face of our business, always will be, but you know, for me, it was about making the best possible fights, signing the best possible fighters out there. And Ben Whittaker, we truly believe in. I worked hard to get that over the line, but it's a team effort. You know, there's a lot of people who would say it's all down to me, but it's a team effort, everything we do. And yeah, it's good times. It's good to be working with people like Ben Whittaker. I've always made it very open about when he was free and clear, he is someone we want to work with. And I've always had a good relationship with him as well, so I'm very excited.
Plans for his return, I've seen November mentioned, the end of November. On that note, what can you tell me, and who are you looking at opponent-wise?
News very soon. Look, we're going to have to build him steady. You know, we want to give him 4 fights over 14 months, keep him active, and that's going to be the key for us. So news very soon, but end of November is the plan.
So a lot of the heavyweights are over with Frank Warren and Queensbury. Do you expect to see that something you're going to explore in a potential 5 versus 5 at some point?
Possibly. But Ben Whittaker's got he's got the potential to be a superstar. He's going to go on his own path, and we're going to do what's best for Ben Whittaker. So you know, he's in a great place.
Frank, I don't want to get you in trouble now, so I'll leave you to go jump up on the stage. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Good to see you.